Have you ever wondered why some revolutions succeed while others fail? I'm Rabbi Benjamin Goldschmidt, and we're here to discuss Parshat Bo. Why did some dictators lose their throne in the Arab Spring, while others remained, in spite of demonstrations and civil war? Is there a magic number of protesters you need? Is there a quota of media coverage that could guarantee a revolution's success? We all heard of the 10 plagues inflicted upon Egypt. Blood, frogs, lice, wild animals, pestilence, boils, hail, locust, darkness, death of the firstborn. The interesting thing is that these 10 are split into 2 Torah portions. The first 7 we read in the portion of Vayera, while the last 3 we read in this week's Parshat Bo. Even though the word Bo has a numerical value, gematria, of 3, let's try to find an explanation to this division. Let's return to our opening question. What makes revolution succeed? Is it a popular opposition leader? Do you need protesters to continue demonstrating for 3-4 weeks at a time? Is it the amount of protesters that matters? Is it a weak economy, inflation, high unemployment, unity among the opposition factions? Maybe all of the above? Scholars and academics have studied this phenomenon. And of course, each revolution is different and nuanced, but there is a common thread that is similar to many of them. The breaking point is when the military is not willing to shoot. To shoot or not to shoot, that is the question. Wherever the protests may be, at the parliament, palace, house of government, at some point the demonstrators brush up against the Secret Service, police, or military face to face. The demonstration intensifies. They come close to storming the halls of power. And now the military is faced with a tough choice: to shoot and kill their own fellow citizens, or to change sides and stand silently by and disobey orders to protect the ruler. That is the breaking point. When a leader sees that happening, they either resign or flee the country if they still can. It happened in Moscow on August 19, 1991, when the Communist Party hardliners tried to stop the dissolution and modernization of the former Soviet Union. They put Gorbachev under house arrest in Crimea, and when ordinary citizens came to protect the Russian White House, the special forces refused to storm the barricades. They refused to shoot. The coup d'etat failed, and the rest is history. It happened in Tbilisi on November 22, 2003, when demonstrators stormed the parliament with roses and forced President Shevardnadze to flee in the middle of a speech. When he tried to mobilize his troops, his elite military units refused to support his government. They refused to shoot. It happened in different variations throughout the Middle East in 2011. In some places, things get better. In others, things get much worse. But the moment of loss of power is when the military disobeys the leader's commands. One of the reasons the revolution failed in Syria is because of the ethnic differences in the population. The president was defended by the Alawite minority. These soldiers feared for their own future, thinking that they would be persecuted as well. That's why they did not feel the kinship with the protesters as it happened in other countries. That's how tyrants stay in power: divide and conquer. The Torah shares a fascinating moment in the history of the Exodus, when it says in the beginning of this week's Parsha the following: "Vayomru avdei Paro elav, ad matai yeh ze lanu lemokesh, shlach et ha'anashim, v'yavdu et Hashem Elokehem, haterem teda ki avda Mitzrayim." Pharaoh's servants said to him, "How long shall this one be a snare to us? Let the men go and worship the Lord their God. Are you not yet aware that Egypt is lost?" This is the moment we have been waiting for. It is the change of minds of those who are in charge of protecting Egypt. The moment they realize that Egypt is lost, that their leader cares only about himself and not about the well-being of the people. Who cares what the Israelites do? Let them go and worship their God. Moses was in a dual battle. The battle to convince Pharaoh, but at the same time, he fought to change the public opinion in Egypt. That is when Pharaoh starts to seriously negotiate. Mi v'mi ha'olchim, who will be going? And ultimately he frees the Jews when he feels a threat to his sovereignty during the last plague of the firstborn. This parsha, after 7 plagues, is the moment the military is considering not to shoot. This is the breaking point of the revolution. The servants of Pharaoh start relating to their Jewish neighbors. Vayiten Hashem et chen ha'am beinei Mitzrayim. The Lord disposed the Egyptians favorably towards the Jewish people. They started respecting Moses. Vayish Moshe gadol me'od be'eretz Mitzrayim. they realize that the Jewish people are not their enemy, but rather Pharaoh. Sometimes we are blessed to see people recognize leaders like Moses, who care about the people, and reject pharaohs who care only about themselves.